Can we just
both of those things?
can we just get Michelle Obama as president, Oprah's vice president? Can we
No.
just do that?
No.
Absolutely not. So you know that they overturned Obamacare
Absolutely
because
not.
it was
Fuck
federally illegal. It's unconstitutional or ruled as unconstitutional. You can't just force people to have the health care because you want it or because we think it's going to be the best for people. It's not how rule of law is supposed to work. Which is why a lot of people had issues with Obama because from the Dem side, he institutes this thing that essentially fucks over a huge proportion of the middle class in America. They have to now get on insurance plans or deal with changing premiums, all because like the people who were uninsurable needed to actually have coverage. And so,
Undead said he's gonna fake.
I see that.
Yeah, he's gonna fake being an American citizen. and
Guys,
become
don't worry. I'll
president.
fake an American citizenship and become president.
Please
I will
do.
be the one that
I'll vote for you.
I will
I would
fake an
vote for him.
assassinator and shoot you.
Yeah. So, anyways, I was saying all that to say.
Hope you all are ready for the Holy American Empire.
Fuck yeah.
That's what Pence is trying to put.
I don't
hail
think
the Queen.
America wants socialism, and even if you ran on that, I think it would be shot down pretty much immediately because of situations like this. It's everything's great in practice. Everybody wants a utopia, but like we've always said, like we're saying about the wall, where's the
At
money
what
come
cost,
from?
though?
Yeah, what do we have to do to implement these things? Tax the American public, make people take on insurance premiums that they can't afford. Some people are now destitute, don't have the right amount of insurance. They can't, keep their homes. They're having to take new jobs. Like it was a bad situation, but it was for a good cause. So we need to be able to look at these things and make wiser decisions. Yes, everybody wants everybody to be medically covered. I would love for everybody in America to be medically covered no matter what their pre-existing conditions were. But is it financially feasible? Does it put the country into a bad state of affairs? Like we just have to be more cognizant of these things. Socialism sounds great on paper, but what happens when we start implementing things like these high tax programs on all the people who are making the money, who are already paying 50% in taxes? What happens when we tax them 60 or 70?
Are they already paying 50%?
Absolutely, they're paying at
The
least
1%.
50%.
The 1% is paying 50%.
At least.
of-
Some of them upwards of 50 and 55 and 60%. So I'm saying if we keep pushing it to the point where they're only taking home, 25%? At what point do they uproot and go to another nation because it's more financially feasible? Jobs are already going overseas at a huge rate because it's cheaper to go manufacture things in China, or it's cheaper to go get manual labor from Mexico, So it's like I said, everything sounds great in practice, or let everybody in the country, no borders. We'll give everybody money all over the world.
Right.
But how do we do these things
Right.
in a way that's responsible and doesn't put
Right.
us, the people who are paying for all this,
Right.
in jeopardy?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, even taking steps towards that costs so much.
Yeah.
The ACA, Dad said the ACA in part represents a big pharma influence. Single payer takes corporations out of it altogether. Undead Unicorn said socialism can't work on a state like America. The different socioeconomic groups are far too widespread.
Very true.
Then make it an option. Dad said the 1% aren't paying high. Undead Unicorn said socialism can only really work in a society where there are only 2 or 3 specific classes. Pretty soon there's only going to be 2 or 3 specific classes.
Here anyway in the
United
States, yeah.
Yeah.
Dad said jobs overseas cause 1%, wanted more. Please elaborate. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that.
Yeah, I mean, I know there are like tax loopholes and different things that you can get around by,
Where's the cactus emoji? You know what? That's funny. I was looking at the emojis the other day looking for one. There isn't.
Like even in Soviet Russia, at the first they acknowledged stuff like that, and
But yeah, can we
Lenin
not
began the capitalism and said
can
they
we not go
build
look at
socialist
socialist
The
locations?
richest Americans, a study that came out March 30th, Washington Post, the richest Americans get a $33,000 tax break under the new GOP tax law.
$33,000 when you're paying millions in taxes isn't a lot. Probably less than 1% of paid.
Are they? I don't.
I mean,
I want to. I'd have to
I don't
see
know because I don't have everybody's
numbers.
specific tax records in front of me, so I can't say what percentage.
I don't have
My
enough
mom's been a tax
information.
preparer my
But
entire
yeah,
life.
and I have a friend who also does my taxes and does that for big companies as well. And she says pretty much everybody who's making over whatever the 250K figure is paying 50% in taxes, and then there's weird wriggle room depending on.
I've read numerous reports that say anybody making between $55,000 and $400,000 a year are paying the most.
I mean, I would have to see those
biggest
numbers broken
percentages
down. Yeah. I don't believe that. I mean, it's a
I don't
progressive
see how
scale.
that
It
would
goes
make
up.
sense.
Yeah, I mean,
The more you make, the
the
more,
more
you're
you
gonna
get taxed.
You're supposed to pay in taxes.
Percentage-wise.
Yeah.
They're paying the most
In a
per,
whole.
per earned dollar.
Oh, okay. Well, that may make sense.
That's different. Then.
Because, like I said, there are tax loopholes. There's different things for starting up companies
Right.
and employing people. Like, we have to be aware of these things, or at least like not, forget
To
about
me,
them.
and this is very socialist of me, and you can hate me all you want, but I think the Waltons should be paying a much higher tax percentage, especially in local communities, because it's people that need the roads to drive to their stores to be able to buy their goods. It's their employees that need to be able to get to the stores to buy their goods. They're only employing their employees 20 hours a week. They're not giving them full-time wages, so they're the ones that are having to live off social programs such as food stamps. Where are they spending their food stamps? Back in their store. So it's this giant revolution of money-making opportunity for them, and who has to pay for it? The local communities have to pay for it in the long run.
Well, I mean, roadways and stuff, like everybody's using them. People from out of state are using them. Like, there needs to be some sort of delineation between like
The
federal
majority of
stuff
people
and state
driving
stuff.
in front of a Walmart, bro, are people going to Walmart or people that work at Walmart?
I mean, yeah, but what does that got to do with the other people who are driving on the roadways? Maybe they're not going to Walmart. Why do they got to then pay for like that specific?
Well, the people that live out of state aren't paying local taxes anyways. I'm saying Walmart as a business should pay a higher percentage of local taxes, community taxes, than other businesses should.
I mean, I disagree. I mean, maybe if they have some sort of thing that's specially built for them, like a roadway or something that like leads to
How many
their
roads
property,
have been built that lead to a fucking Walmart in this town?
And I mean, most of them are just off of main roads, 117,
They happen to have been,
205,
but
and Mill Plain.
There's
Like,
plenty of, and
Hazeldale or whatever, Highway 99. Like, do you know a Walmart that's not off of a main road that was already? I don't.
now the main roads are getting worse because all the Walmart traffic. Hello?
I mean, I can agree with that, but yet and still, they shouldn't have to then
Right.
pay for the roadways. Like, they're already paying for their property and
Right.
maintaining everything.
Right.
Yeah, that one's tough.
You okay?
At least I think a little bit more tough because you do have a legitimate claim.
Right.
If you are causing the road to be damaged more because you're having more traffic come through,
Right.
there may be
Then,
some sort of
then
claim.
there has to be some sort
At
of
least an argument.
responsibility. But how do you measure that as well?
Exactly.
Especially the Walmart up on Mill Plain because it's in a plaza.
Exactly. Yeah. How do you
Or it's next to a
quantify how much
plaza.
extra damage is
Right.
done because they're there versus
Right.
not being there? You know, it's like,
Yeah. So I mean, it's another one of those things where you draw the line.
yeah. Well, I'm very angry that we spend all this money in taxes and our infrastructure's crumbling. And, you know what I'm saying? Like that to me doesn't make any sense. Where are all my federal dollars going? It's not going to the fucking, the paying the federal whatevers, the people working at the federal
Right.
campgrounds. They ain't getting money. It ain't going to anybody during the government shutdown. It ain't going to TSA agents.
Right.
Just got all this money going places and
Dad
crumbling
said when the
infrastructure.
1% were paying 70% beyond $200,000, more money was reinvested and employees were better off. And when 99% are better off, more money is injected into the economy. That is simple economics. Shawn said, I'm going to Dutch Brothers, not Walmart.
Yeah, when people got money, they spend it and it stimulates
Dad
the economy.
said more
That's true.
investment means more innovation. If you have a $13 billion profit margin, it's okay to pay a little more in taxes, I think. But that's just me personally.
I mean,
I will
depends,
always
don't-
rob Peter to pay Paul. I will always be a Robin Hood. Undead Unicorn said, hang on, wait a second. So do businesses build their own roads or something? Absolutely. I'm for that. If it's a multi-billion-dollar business, yeah. They
But
can
what
build
if
their
that
own.
yeah.
multi-million-dollar business is in a plaza?
I said multi-billion.
Okay.
You know what the difference is between a million and a
Okay.
billion?
Okay. So let me
It's
rephrase
immense.
it. Let
It's
me
a fucking,
rephrase
it's
it.
immense.
Let me rephrase it then. What if that multi-billion-dollar company is in a plaza?
If
How do you prove that their company's bringing in more traffic than the one that's sitting
that
next
plaza was built around that multi-million-dollar business. Why was
so
it built
do you
around
tax
it?
the people?
Because-
Do you tax the people then that up the percentage?
No, you tax
Of
the
the
billionaire
traffic?
that is the majority of the traffic
See,
in
I
that
don't- I
in
don't
that
agree with
complex.
that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you just
Look, man,
Just
if
because
you're
somebody
using more
makes
toilet
lots
paper
of
in my
money-
house, I'm gonna charge you because you use more toilet paper in my house than anybody else does.
But that's
say that to a woman.
You gotta pay.
You use more toilet paper.
I will say that
Fact.
to a woman. I will
You
say
gonna
that
pay
to a
for
woman.
more. man,
Right.
you'll never,
I'll say that
never
too.
live
That's a
with a
different.
female.
You can't compare it like that. That's different.
Yeah.
That's a different comparison.
How is it different?
I'm simply talking this. If there's a business, if there's a multi-billion-dollar business on land, and they have their own traffic that's there and doing their thing, and then there's a plaza that's built around that adds more traffic, I don't believe
It's
the
not adding more traffic, though, dude.
Just wait till I'm done.
Why? You don't wait till I'm done?
I don't believe that the plaza.
Trying to yell to piss off Shawn.
I don't. I don't believe that this business that was already here should have to pay for the more traffic that the plaza causes.
It's not more traffic.
How is it not more traffic?
Those
if
little
there's not more
businesses are putting their businesses there so they can feed off the big ones. It's like the little fish that feeds off the big shark's scraps.
But still,
That's why they put those little strip malls
but that still causes more traffic. It still causes more traffic.
A small percentage
It does,
based on the big
so you
pie.
think that multi-billion-dollar company should pay for even that slightest inkling, the
It's not a
slightest?
slightest.
I'm just saying.
The small
I don't
businesses are a
believe-
small percentage of the big pie. So should they have to pay accordingly? Absolutely.
I don't believe that they should have to pay for more traffic that's not their response. That it's not because of them.
But it is because of them.
Well, how do you prove that? Like I said,
Yeah.
how do you quantify it? How
That's
do you
like,
show
okay.
damage done versus traffic? Like,
No,
you know?
numbers don't lie. If you have hundreds of thousands of people going to Walmart in a week and you have 15 people going to Subway every day, obviously the traffic is going to Walmart.
That's true. I don't.
The Subway
That's not
was-
what I'm talking
the
about.
Subway
bro.
was built there to
That's
feed
not
off of
even
the
what I'm
business
talking
going to the
about.
big one.
Okay, if you have Fred Meyer's here, Fred Meyer's, and it has its own traffic, and then like a Zales opens up right next door.
Okay.
Fred Meyer's shouldn't have
That's
to
not gonna
pay.
happen 'cause Fred Meyer's has
Meyer's
its own
should not
jewelry
have
shop.
to pay. Fred Meyer's should not have to pay for Zales traffic.
They're
That's
not.
my point.
They're not having
But you
to pay
were
for
saying
Zales.
But
they
you were
should
saying they
because
should.
the
They
big
should. I'm saying they should
billion-dollar-
pay a bigger percentage.
No, they should just pay their own that they have.
No,
Not-
they should pay
not
a bigger
everybody
percentage.
else's. Not everybody else's.
They should pay a bigger percentage
For their own
just
traffic.
they make more money
So-
because they're a bigger entity. Like,
because
or
they're
is it by size?
they're more responsible for what's going on in the area.
Okay,
The roads,
okay,
the
listen,
pollution,
listen.
everything that's going on to
I
get people
understand
into that area.
I understand that.
The
We're-
biggest piece is coming from the billion-dollar corporations.
Right.
So the billion-dollar
We're
corporations should
debating
have to give the
two
bigger piece
different.
back to the
We're
community.
debating two different points. We're debating two different points. Your point is very valid, and I agree with that, but that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this: if Fred Meyer's has a certain amount of traffic, and then there's stores built around that Fred Meyer's that adds more traffic, Fred Meyer's should not have to pay more of what they're already paying for these businesses and their traffic. That's what I'm saying. They're going to pay a big percentage because, yes, they have huge amounts of people coming in. I get that 100%. I do believe, yes, you should pay for roads then. Yeah, because you have the majority, but I'm not paying more for other businesses' traffic. I'm
And
not doing
nobody
it.
ever said that.
That's my point. We were debating two different points.
I'm confused. Oh, can we go back to the Bible?
No.
Yeah, when the Bible's easier than talking about Walmart roads. Fuck.
Dad said we all support the roads, but we're not all benefiting. Undead Unicorn said, gotta love the bot, always coming in with those words of encouragement. Shout out to Mace the Kills, because
Right.
Mace the Kills said, you got this.
Undead Unicorn. Who's Fred? I'm lost. Fred Meyer's is a store. It's actually Kroger, but Fred Meyer's is a store here in the States. It's actually Kroger, but Fred
Fred
Meyer's
Meyer's
is a
is
store.
the Northwest
Yeah,
offset of the Kroger.
yeah.
Shawn said businesses do pay taxes based on extra traffic. There was a coffee cart on 112 that had to pay $30,000 to the city of Vancouver due to traffic influence. That's the way it should be. Simple socialist principles.
Yeah.
When people have, Dad said, when people have less money to meet needs, that leads to more crime. That is true. That is true. Unfortunate, but true.
It's very unfortunate.
Shawn said just depends on the business. It shouldn't depend on the business. The more profit you make, the bigger chunk of taxes you should have taken up.
No, it should be based by traffic. Something quantifiable. Just because you make more money should then be like the end all be all. Like what happens if you're really successful and FunkShop gets super huge and then you start having people come in for guest spots and stuff? You got to pay for the roadways now?
Go ahead and ask anybody that knows me what the answer to your
I
question
mean, I'm
is.
sure you personally would, but I'm saying
Ask
for
anybody that
everybody.
knows me what. I mean,
Well, I can tell you from my perspective, I don't want to pay it.
if I was Jeff Bezos, would I be giving away half of my net profit every year? Fuck yes.
I wouldn't.
If I was the Walton Company and I grossed, or my net profit was $13 billion last year, guess what I'm putting back into the communities? $7.5 billion.
Like 2, maybe? Like, man, that was a big maybe.
Ask anybody that knows me.
So you're the half guy. Half Eddie.
Half Eddie.
If my net profits are $13 billion, absolutely.
So what's the lowest denomination you would take home where you would start giving away half? Like $1 million take home, or 250,000 take home? Or?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. But again, when you're talking $1 million versus $1 billion, it's fucking astronomical.
Oh
Very
yeah,
much
that's apples
so.
and oranges.
And most people, the average person doesn't equate it. They think, okay, well, $100 and $1,000, that's not very much. It's not much difference.
But when you get into that
on a
realm,
grander
it's
scale,
it's night and
100
day.
million.
most
Right.
people can't fathom the difference between $1 million and $1 billion.
Yeah.
Well, most people that if they had $1 billion,
Wouldn't know what to do with it.
wouldn't. For one, you can't fathom that much money. For one,
No.
because it's just one of those things. It's like you would never be broke unless you're super stupid.
I was to say people win the lottery all the time
Yeah,
for
they go
you know
broke,
hundreds
yeah.
of millions of dollars and go
And,
broke
and
in
pro
years.
athletes, pro athlete, 80% I think it is. Pro athletes
Yeah,
go
go broke.
bankrupt
Yep.
3 years after they're done, or whatever.
3 to 5 years or something like that.
The thing is that when it comes to money, there's so many loopholes and crookedness that it's hard to really find what should be done versus what is being done.
Yeah.
You know.
So Pop said there's been a war on the 99% by the 1% for 2 centuries. Yes, that is true. Dead Unicorn said I'm completely lost. Who's paying for who? I think I was lost as well, but we're kind of on the same train now. Dad said the 1% think the rest of us are the rabble, and their social position gives them the right to make policy for us, but it's to make sure that the rabble doesn't rise up against them, make demands like a more equitable wage. Who's Fred? I'm lost. Unless Freddy's was responsible for more storefronts as an investment, and that's a thing. Shawn would know. Dad said paying fair share of taxes would take care of one's responsibility and vice versa. Shawn said Jeff has been investing into fusion power plants. Oh, Bezos?
Yeah.
And that's what I was going to say. Like,
Bezos.
those people who are starting up companies or investing in the community, giving back in other ways, not necessarily just
Right.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
That to me, that could fall under the tax deduction. But a portion of whatever their billions are, whatever their profit, if the more profit you make, the more you should have to give back to the community, even if it's in a tax deductible form. I'm okay with
Don't they
that.
have programs like that? Don't they have to do that, like a percentage of their like total gross revenue or something like that?
But it's so small.
Is it? I thought it was like
Small in
Pretty-
comparison to what they're making. Is that
Yes.
what you're saying? Okay.
Yes.
I thought it like pretty much between those contributions and then the taxes that's where the like 55% to 60% of like them being taxed comes in.
Right.
From like those tax deductible things and then your actual like taxes.
There's a cap on the tax deductible things as well.
Absolutely,
I'm not sure what the numbers are, but
Yeah, me either.
if they were fair, I don't think so many people would be lobbying against it. Maybe I'm just a bandwagoner.
I was gonna say yeah.
You can
Maybe
call me
we
that.
should do some
I
more
think
research
there's
on it so we can
I
know.
think there's a percentage of people that are like that think like, not bandwagon, but think like that. But I also think there's a percentage of people that are just mad that they don't have that much money.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm definitely not mad.
You know,
but
no, not you.
Oh,
That's
I
what I'm
am.
saying.
I'm
That's what I'm
envious as
saying.
fuck.
There's different people. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about there are people that think like you, and then there's a percentage of people that are just angry because that person has all the money and they're struggling.
So they think like me. Yeah.
So
Donald
Undead
Trump.
Unicorn said Jeff Bezos is an absolute knobhead.
Bezos.
Amazon workers are treated like dirt. You watched a lot of viral videos, but a lot of that has been proven not to be necessarily true. I remember when there was a viral impact of how Amazon treated their employees like slaves.
Yeah.
A lot of that was disproven. A lot of that was some disgruntled
Google
employees.
treats their
Even
employees
since
pretty
then,
good, though.
They've upped things.
they've
made
definitely
them
changed a
better.
lot.
Yeah.
Changed a lot. Sean said fusion energy has been making huge jumps in technology over the last decade. There should be some up and running around 2030.
That's what they've been talking about.
Maybe you should
The
start
new
investing in the
clean
stocks.
Fusion.
Dad said one of the Koch brothers says he just wants his fair share, and that's everything. Then he said, yes, there's a lot of that, though, out there. God help us all. Power-hungry ooch. Equality is important.
Equality is important, but let me ask you this, Pops, real quick. Equality is important, I guarantee it, and I agree 100%. But is it equality that somebody, and this could be just way left field, and I might be taking what you're saying wrong, but is it equality for someone to take the right path, to go to school or whatever, become a businessman, become very, 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 very successful in the means of money, if that's their success, than the person who didn't and doesn't have all that? Then there can't be an equality there. Because if I was somebody who busted my ass for my success, and then someone who's lazy is just like gets the same thing, that's not equality to me.
Yeah, that's the equality
You know what I mean?
of opportunity versus the equality of like outcomes.
Right.
Everybody
I
should
hear
have
what Pops is
opportunities
saying.
to do things. But
Right.
we all aren't going to end up at the same place because some of
Right.
us are going to work harder than others. Some of us have
Exactly.
more drive and
Right.
things. So
Right. It is very complicated. I do agree with you, Pops, but I do like your point, though. I do like your point. Equality on all planes, right? Not just financially, but equality on everything that we've been talking about for the last almost 4 hours. Well, no, y'all been talking almost 4. I've been talking for almost 3, right? Something like that.
4 hours and 16
Or 3 and a
minutes.
half.
good.
Just to try to put it into perspective for people that may not have ever dove in and equated numerics to time. Have you ever looked at the chart? So if you equate $1 million, $1 million, okay?
Right.
1 million seconds equals 11 and a half days.
Okay.
So $1 million would equal, let's say $1 million is worth 11 and a half days. That means 1 billion is equal to 31 3/4 years.
Yeah. But that's the huge discrepancy for people
11
that don't
days
get.
to 31 years.
Right.
And
So that's
what
the
I'm saying. Like,
huge
if
that
you're a
people don't understand. Yeah.
multi-billion-dollar corporation, you can give away a few more years than the multi-million-dollar corporation.
Right.
You can afford it. It's
Now,
okay.
where do you draw
It's
the
not a
line?
big-
Where do you draw the line between making somebody do that
Yeah.
and then giving them the choice to do that?
I'm not giving them a choice.
You're just gonna make them
If
do
you're
it.
making multi-billions of dollars off the American people,
Right.
my God, you're going to give back to the American people.
I mean, it makes
Because who
sense,
needs that kind of money anyways?
and I agree with that. But
Me and Dan Balzerian.
I agree with that. But what I don't agree with is people should be made to give money up. If you don't give money up, you're just a dick. And then I go on about my business.
But taking it is theft.
Yeah.
You know, that's you're
So
taking
being
it from somebody by
taxed
force and
being
coercion.
taxed is theft, and to be
Yes,
correct. So taxation
absolutely.
is illegal.
I'm sorry, what?
Taxation is illegal.
I believe so.
Okay.
Forcibly taking my money without my consent and not even asking me what I would like to do with it, I believe that.
Sean said, "I need trillions." Sean,
See, thank you, Sean. Somebody feel it.
he's only saying that because he's worth. I'm not.
He
even-
stopped. I'm
I-
glad.
No, but look.
Sean Sticky don't feel good. Don't be
Undead
I
Unicorn
know.
said, "Well, what are taxes then?" Question mark, and then
Yeah.
Pop said, "Good point."
I mean, taxes are biblical if you want to really.
I
get
mean,
technical.
I mean, you know my opinion about that though. It's like just because it's biblical, you can't reaffirm something with Bible. Like that's circular
Full
reasoning.
circle.
If you were to
Sean
wake
needs
somebody up,
trillions so he can buy zillions of cactus.
yes, cacti. If you were to resurrect somebody who was alive when Jesus was walking around, right? They would be like, "Y'all haven't made any new rules yet. Y'all are still abiding by this here. Like, y'all ain't done it, you know." So I think there's always a variable. There's always going to be the argument of should you pay more if you make more,
Sean,
which
should
I think you should, but I don't think you should be made to.
Yeah.
If you don't, you're just a dick.
Well, I've heard some things
know?
proposed that sounded interesting, like a flat tax rate, like just 30% across everybody on all levels. Do something like that so people aren't being, taken advantage. Felt like they're taken advantage of.
Right.
I've also heard about the what is it called? It's pretty much everybody they get 11,000 a year or something like that, 13 to 15,000 a year. Universal basic income or something like that.
Yeah,
UBI, I think it is. I can't remember exactly what
On top of what they make already?
Andrew Yang.
everybody in the country would just get the income to be able to live and
So
do
Andrew
whatever.
Yang is running for president in 2020.
Who?
Andrew Yang.
Okay. Andrew Yang.
His platform is together we can build a new kind of economy, one that puts people
UBI.
first. And it's his thought. What is UBI?
Universal basic income.
In the next 12 years, 1 out of 3 American workers is at risk of losing their jobs to new technologies, and unlike with previous waves of automation, this time new jobs will not appear quickly enough in large enough numbers to make up for it. To avoid an unprecedented crisis, we're going to have to find a new solution, unlike anything we've done before. It all begins with universal basic income for all American adults, no strings attached, a foundation on which stable, prosperous, and just society can be built. What is universal basic income? Universal basic income is a form of Social Security that guarantees a certain amount of money to every citizen within a given governed population without having to pass a test or fulfill a work requirement. Every universal basic income plan can be different in terms of amount or design. Andrew Yang is running for president as Democrat 2020 on the platform of UBI. The UBI he is proposing in the United States is a set of guaranteed payments of $1,000 per month or $12,000 per year to all U.S. citizens over the age of 18. Yes, that means you and everyone you know would get another $1,000 a month every month for the U.S. government.
On top of whatever you're making already.
Right.
Okay.
No questions asked.
That would be kind of cool, but where would that money come from? How would it?
From my understanding, they would stop most social programs and in lieu of them, give people this universal basic income so you can take your money and figure out
like
housing
Social
and-
Security stuff?
So your
they would stop
question-
all that?
I don't think they would stop all of it, but a lot of those programs. To my
Okay, I get
understanding.
you.
UBI is already being practiced in some European countries.
They're trying to pass it in Britain.
Yeah, he
Undead
said it's an
said.
absolute disaster so far. How would we pay for universal basic income? It would be easier than you might think. Andrew proposes funding UBI by consolidating some welfare programs and implementing a value-added tax of 10%. Current welfare and social program beneficiaries would be given a choice between their current benefits or $1,000 cash unconditionally. Most are going to prefer the cash with no restrictions.
Oh yeah.
So imagine how much money we'd save out of those social and welfare programs.
Well, and that was the thing that I saw was there was like a huge discrepancy in the amount of money that would be being shelled out. And it's like, that's why I can get on board with stuff like that, but not socialism, because this is like the closest thing to socialism that I think anybody's really tried in the modern world.
Right.
But it is going to get us closer to something that could be functional. And I don't know what would happen or once they implemented it, if housing things would go up or, but just the fact that we could potentially be saving money with these programs and still helping out the people, the homeless population,
Right.
pretty much gone.
Right.
Things like this are the strategies I think we should really be talking about and trying to at least get an idea about.
Right.
Right.
So this says a value-added tax is a tax on the production of goods or services a business produces. It's a fair tax, and it makes it much harder for large corporations who are experts at hiding profits and income to avoid paying their fair share. A VAT is nothing new. 160 out of 193 countries in the world already have a value-added tax or something similar, including all of Europe, which has an average VAT of 20%. The means to pay for a universal basic income will come from 4 sources. Number 1, current spending. We currently spend between $500 and $600 billion a year on welfare programs, food stamps, disability, and the like. This reduces the cost of universal basic income because people already receiving benefits would have a choice but would be ineligible to receive the full $1,000 in addition to current benefits. A VAT. Our economy is now incredibly vast at $19 trillion, up $4 trillion in the last 10 years alone. A VAT at half the European level would generate $800 billion in new revenue. A VAT will become more and more important as technology improves because you cannot collect income tax from robots or software. New revenue, putting money into the hands of American consumers, will grow the economy. The Roosevelt Institute projected the economy would grow by approximately $2.5 trillion and create 4.6 million new jobs. This would generate approximately $500 to $600 billion in new revenue from the economic growth and activity. Number 4, we currently spend over $1 trillion on healthcare, incarceration, homelessness, services, and the like. We would save $100 to $200 billion As people would take better care of themselves and avoid the emergency room, jail, and the street would be generally more functional.
Yeah.
Universal basic income would pay for itself by helping people avoid our institutions, which is when our costs shoot up. Some studies have shown that $1 to a poor parent will result in as much as $7 in cost savings and economic growth.
Pretty major, and there's
Some
a lot
would-
of really smart minds who
Definitely a
think
lot of
that-
smart
yeah.
minds. Some would say, though, that there are people that sit on their ass and just want to collect a check, right?
Yeah.
So if those people are doing that, some would argue and say, once you have money, you want more of it. And the people that are already being lazy and collecting a check, if they were to implement that, I think they would find a way to want to keep cheating the system and finding ways to make even more money.
Well, I mean,
Of
yeah,
course
people
there
are
is,
gonna
but
do that.
percentage-wise,
I think that it's
Percentage-wise,
going to
probably
save
it
more
wouldn't make
people
that
from
big of a
going out
deal.
and committing
Do you
crimes.
know
All
how
of a sudden,
much
more
people don't have
motivated-
to steal, you
Right,
know, and like
right,
why
that
go
makes
risk
sense.
your life or your
Right,
freedom when you're
right.
getting money?
Right.
And for me, the niggas who want to sit at home, let them.
Right.
Then they ain't gonna be out in the streets doing anything.
That's
They ain't gonna
true.
be buying up drugs. They're
That's
not gonna
very
be.
true.
You know, if you want to stay home, if you have no ambition, you that's you.
Right.
I would much rather give you 12 grand a year than have you collecting all the different resources from
Right,
programs.
that's true.
My pop said Yang personally doing this for one family in New Hampshire and his example being followed by someone else doing for a family in Georgia. I think one estimate shows raising taxes at the top could help make this possible.
Yeah.
Great argument in that read, Paul. Undead Unicorn said in Britain we have a gigantic problem of people sitting on their asses collecting benefits. We do here too.
Yeah, we definitely do
So
here
if
too,
you have
brother.
an option, okay, you can collect this $1,000 a month, or you can collect your food stamps.
Yeah.
Most people are gonna $1,000 can be hugely motivating to a lot of people,
For sure.
Yeah.
especially in the lower class.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially.
I think it would mean more to them than it would be middle class
Absolutely.
people.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure.
Of course.
Absolutely. Give me $1,000 a month, and I'm probably gonna spend it on stupid shit.
I mean, I'm gonna make
For the
sure all my
first few
bills are
months.
paid.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that would pretty much cover most of my essentials. And then I
Well,
can
as
go
far
and
as I'm
work a
concerned, my
job
bills are
and,
stupid
you know,
shit. Like
yeah.
I hate Comcast, but
It would actually cut down on stress levels, which then would calm people down. Face-to-face conversations,
Yeah.
less fights, less violence,
less hatred, less anxiety.
Moms could stay home and actually breastfeed their kids and build that rapport. Like, no joke. Like,
That's true.
That's
No,
true.
build that rapport.
No,
with
that's real talk.
The
children,
fact
which
that
is
you went
a
to
huge
breastfeed instead of nurture, specifically breastfeed.
Well, because breastfeeding actually
Moms
builds
could
a
go back to
close
giving it to
bond
eat.
by staring into the thing. And I like to see titties out. So I mean, let's be real. But in all seriousness, like that's one of the biggest factors I believe in like younger kids and their issues in schools and blowing up and stuff is that they don't have that close home life. And the 0 to 5 stage in life is the most crucial for their development.
Right.
And so not having their parents around, they start getting emotional,
They get anxiety, separation
Yeah,
anxiety.
So one of the
Separation
questions that could go along with what you asked, won't people spend their money on dumb things like drugs and alcohol? The data does not show this. In many other of the studies where cash is given to the poor, there has been no increase in drug and alcohol use. In fact, many people use it to try to reduce their alcohol consumption or substance abuse because they're happier.
Yeah.
Right.
People go out and get a fifth when they're depressed.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
In
that's
Alaska,
what
people
it is.
Alaska, for example, people regularly put the petroleum dividend they receive from the state in accounts for their children's education. The idea that poor people will be irresponsible with their money and squander it seems to be a biased stereotype rather than a truth.
Yeah.
Decision making has been shown to improve when people have greater economic security. Giving people resources will enable them to make better decisions. To
Yeah, I
improve their
think it's just
situation.
in America, but
Agreed.
Yeah. Won't people stop working? No, I doubt it.
I doubt it. It's because, the people that are lazy,
$12,000 a
they
year
won't
doesn't go
work.
that
They'll
far.
just collect
Yeah.
a check. But the people that are motivated, like you were saying, that want to better themselves, I think they would continue to better themselves.
Yeah.
It's just an extra tool to better yourself, I think. Because if you're really smart about it, you would invest in yourself.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Well, you could take that 12 grand a year or whatever and be putting it in whatever, like a Roth IRA or something,
yeah.
like this.
Or act like you're not getting it and just unless you're low income, that would help you out. But if you're middle class, just keep living your life and stock that away.
Save for kids or anything, yeah.
Exactly. Or in Paul's case, you would save and then give half of it back to whoever needs it.
If I'm making billions of dollars
Also,
in profit.
Right.
I was gonna say, I think there should be a program to like opt out of that 12 grand if you are a billionaire or something, and not that it should be forced, but you should be able to opt out of it, and
Right.
that should, I don't know, give you some sort of credit or some sort of something,
Right.
Or even a program where they just like, you know, talk you up for doing it.
Yeah.
But I think that giving that opportunity for
If
people
that
who don't
12,000
need it to give it back,
Yeah.
that could be huge too, and save
That
additional
definitely could
money.
be huge.
If that
and then-
$12,000 is going to put me in a higher tax bracket where I have to pay more money, I don't want that.
You probably give it away, yeah.
Yeah, that makes
I don't
sense too. There's just a lot of variables, you know, and I think, I mean, it's a great idea. Equality for everybody and all that. That's a great idea. And like you were saying earlier, it's great on paper. But there's always going to be a by the way. You understand what I'm saying? There's always going to be something that either is seen or unforeseen that's going to happen, that it's not going to be roses all the time.
Oh yeah, there's always unknown unknowns,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you can't know until you get there.
Exactly.
But I think if we strategize, what's the harm in trying it?
Right.
Like I said, it's a thing where you can either keep your current benefits or
Right.
opt into this.
Right.
So
Well, yeah.
I think having the
And
option is
even
going to be.
even the idea, if we try it for 2 years, if the numbers are worked out the way they say, well, all it's going to do is help the economy anyways.
Exactly, and if it hurts it a little bit,
Yeah.
you just pull back in 2 to 4 years or whatever and
Right.
stop doing it like we're doing with Obamacare.
Right.
Sometimes things don't work, but unless we try it and see if
Dad
you know,
said I would think part of the program would be on a basis of need, but it clearly states it's not, because then you create a paradigm of social unfairity. So people, you don't want anybody to say, well, he got it, why didn't I?
Yeah.
Because that would even make a bigger divide between the social gaps.
Yeah, that's why the universal piece has
It
to
has
be
to be
there.
universal.
Right.
It has to be everybody over. If it's going to be people over 18, it has to be every American
Everybody,
citizen over
yeah.
18. Now, what I would say is, if you're a certain level of crimes can take down your monthly stipend a certain percentage.
But then
I
we're gonna
think
have homeless criminals, you know, like
Yeah.
I would rather have a criminal
depending on what kind of crimes. You know, if it's petty theft, I wouldn't put that in that category. But if it's repeat offenders of DUIs, take some of that stipend out. Give people an
Or
incentive to
serial
not break
killers.
the law or to get their shit straight.
I mean, that's what I thought jail was.
Well, what you could do is
DUI,
this.
I put you in jail.
Nobody's
Don't
afraid of going
Right.
to jail anymore,
What
bro.
you could do is this, right? Is
Then we
kind
need
of
to
what
up
you're saying?
Something, you know.
Right.
so-
What you could do is
We can't, because the social justice warriors
true.
out there,
That's very true.
even prisoners have feelings too.
What Pops was saying and what you were saying is, which you would, depending on your crime history and all this other stuff, would depend on how much you get. I think on the positive side of that, it would create incentive,
Yeah.
right, to want to clear your shit up and start living right. On one end, on the other end, though, I think that if you were to do that, on the flip side, like if someone says, I'm going to give you $650 a month instead of $1,000, there has to be some kind of, but that 650 could go up to 1,000 if
you
for
do.
a certain amount of time you're living right
Yeah.
and continue to live right once you get to that $1,000 point, right? And I think that would be even more incentive for people to be like, oh shit, let me get my shit together.
Yeah.
You know? Let
Well, I
put
like
me in
that
funk
idea.
out.
Or even like something where doing additional things could maybe like build on the 12,000, maybe get you up to 13,000.
Which would build
if
more
you're-
incentive for people to go out
Yeah,
and be a go-getter. You know?
exactly.
Yeah, the more you do, the more you make. Is the concept kind of on that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then you wouldn't have to hire people just on race or gender or whatever. 'Cause
Exactly.
people would go to school to become qualified to get hired at that job or whatever they would do. It would just give them more incentive to be.
Well, I can't
to
even
be-
imagine just young people in our generation having the ability to like have my bills paid and then go to school without stressing
Right,
about my
right.
income.
That's the only reason I never went to school.
That's one of
because
the
I
things
did
that
not
told
want
me
to.
that, too.
I didn't want to end up being. I was part of that generation where college was so expensive.
Unless you
to
had
get
a
loans,
unless you had a
we'd end up
scholar,
paying.
yeah,
Why
unless
am I
you
gonna
had
go
a
to school
scholarship or
for
something.
7
Thank God.
years
Thank
and
you.
and having to pay for it for 20 years.
Yeah.
By the time I'm actually enjoying my fruitful work of the 7 years,
Time to retire and you ain't
It's
got no
time to-
money saved. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
It's-
why.
And
That's
that's
exactly what
what's
I did.
really sad. It always
So Dad
saddens
said,
me.
"Great idea, guys. Choices are right on. I wish this was our idea. wish we could take credit for it, because then we can tell everybody that got the $1,000.
I know.
Yeah. Donate $2. Could you imagine getting $2 from every American citizen over 18?
320 million.
Yeah. Hell yeah, everybody be happy.
I can handle that. I'd still give a little bit back to the community, though. And Unicorn said, there's a homeless guy in my old town who's constantly in prison, and everyone sees every time he leaves prison, the first thing he does is throw a brick through a window, because the shelter he has in prison is just straight up better than his life would otherwise
There are
be.
people here in the
There's
States
a
that
lot
do
of
that,
people
bro,
that do that
because
stuff.
they know they're going to get 3 meals
Yep.
and a roof over their head.
But you know what? On the same token, there's a lot of police that don't bother wasting the time arresting people that break the law, that because they know that they want to take advantage of the system too. It's crazy.
Where do you draw the line?
Where does that circle start and stop?
Yeah.
Because I've seen like homeless people or addicts, anybody that just wants to do something to get in jail so they have a place to sleep overnight. And cops are like, well, I know why you're stealing that, or I know why you're defacing that property. I know why you're doing that, so I'm not gonna arrest you.
Right.
Wait, but if I did the same thing, I'd be arrested and I'd have to go face a judge Monday morning. Yeah. This is ridiculous.
You know, the standard, I wish that we could get the money out of the courtroom, a whole nother topic.
Oh, God.
Because
Talk about
all it takes is I throw enough money at it and I walk away.
We could text Walmart a little
It
more.
sickens me. That subject sickens me that 2 men can do the same exact crime, but one has more money to pay for a better lawyer and gets less time for it.
Dude, that boy who
than
raped
the
that
person.
girl behind the dumpster and got like 2 months or 3 months or whatever.
Bro.
Still, and the judge even said sending him to jail may like compromise his emotional state or some shit. Like he's been pretty much coddled his whole life and made too much money, so I can't send him to jail. That kind of shit needs to stop. It shouldn't matter how much money you got. If you're Donald Trump on down to my broke ass,
Right.
Regardless, you should be tried and dealt with the same way.
Exactly. If Paul and I did the exact same crime, got caught the exact same way, we went to court, we should get the exact same punishment.
Exactly.
Hands down.
Yep.
And it shouldn't be based on income. It shouldn't be based on, oh, who's your lawyer? Oh, okay, cool. You know, because most of these assholes chill out with each other any goddamn way.
Yeah.
And they're like, look, man, so this case that I'm doing, why don't we just give them 5 years, make them pay a fine, and then that conversation is that long, and they're like, so let's go eat. Let's go get something to eat. It's not even important to people that are making those laws. And that's where I think it gets scary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If 2 people create or do the same exact crime, they should get the same exact time. Hands down. I don't care what it is. I don't
For
care.
sure. Male or female.
Male or female.
Black or white.
Right. But the argument, because I see things on both sides, and the argument is, let's say we both broke into a house, which we would get charged on that, but you killed somebody and I didn't.
Oh, I should obviously be dealt with.
That's different.
Yeah.
We should get the same amount of sentencing on the break-in,
Yeah.
and that's where I'm done.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the judge is like, okay, you can go. Now, Josh, for your crime of or whatever, you know. But a lot of times they won't do that either.
No.
A lot of times they'll
compromise.
They'll just
we'll
lump it all-
we'll drop off the break-in and we'll go with just the murder.
Exactly.
If we can get that to stick, if you guys will compromise.
Exactly.
So Dad says, if I didn't need my stipend, it would be given away.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, that's great. A lot of people in the country probably feel the same way.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would do that.
I would definitely, I'd pay my bills so we could keep doing FunkShop TV, because this stuff is expensive.
It's super.
People have no idea how much time and effort and money it takes to continue this ball. College should not be so expensive, institutionalized. That's why we need to work for equality.
That's right.
And then he said, like it or not, a large percentage of our democracy has turned into a corporatocracy.
That's real.
We need to change that. And that's exactly part of what the HR 1? Part of what HR 1 is looking to tackle. There's good things about corporations, but not much.
It's true.
I wish we can go back to an independent trade society. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, free
would.
trade. We've never really had like a true free trade society, but we've had pretty close to it. You know.
Right.
I mean, when we were letting the Indians capture the beavers and skinning them, and then the cowboys were taking the pelts and trading them away.
That's true.
Tons of money. Yeah.
Good morning, YouTube, or afternoon, whenever you're watching this. Good news, we're doing a weekly giveaway on our YouTube channel for Amazon gift cards. All you gotta do to enter is like the video, give us a subscribe, and comment below. The more comments you give us on the weekly videos for that week, we go Monday through Sunday, the more chances you have being entered, basically. So I'm going to go through whatever the most creative content is as far as your comments go, and I'll pick a winner, and I'll send you a gift card. It's pretty simple. Free money. Who likes free money? I know I do. Subscribe. Have a good day.